I didn't even feel the slap at first. It was the silence after that made it real. I'm Claire Bennett, and I remember thinking, for a second, just a stupid second, that maybe nobody would react. Like the room had gone faulty. Like something had broken in the sound system, and not in me. That wasn't true. The room was just waiting. The chandelier light didn't change. That's the part that sticks weirdly. Everything stayed elegant, expensive, perfect, while my face started burning like I had been left too close to something I didn't see coming. Grant's hand stayed in the air a second too long, like even he didn't understand what he had done yet. Then someone laughed. I still don't know who started it. Maybe Judith. Maybe it was already decided before I even processed the hit. Then it spread. Not loud at first, just small pieces of laughter turning into a whole room doing the same thing at once. That kind of laughter doesn't feel like emotion. It feels like agreement. I'm Claire Bennett, 33. Hospital compliance work, numbers, reports, corrections. I used to think truth was something you could catch if you looked closely enough at data long enough. That's not really true either. I grew up in Montreal, small apartment, always a little too quiet. My mother Elena used to say things that didn't make sense when I was younger, like, fast things are already decided before they look fast. I didn't understand her. I thought she just talked like that because life had made her tired in advance. Now I think she meant it literally. I met Grant at a charity event I almost didn't attend. I remember that part clearly because I almost didn't go. And sometimes I wonder how different things would be if I hadn't. He spoke softly, not charming in a clear way, more like careful, like he was measuring how much of himself to show and failing slightly at hiding it. He asked questions like he already knew half the answers and just wanted me to confirm them. I liked that. I shouldn't have. 3 months in, I noticed his phone would buzz before he looked at me like he was waiting for permission from somewhere else. 6 months in, I met Judith. She didn't introduce herself like family, more like she was checking whether I belonged in the system or not. And I think from that moment, I started adjusting myself without noticing it properly. Not big changes, small ones. Less opinion, less reaction, slower responses. Like I was trying not to disturb something already in place. Not because she told me to, because everything around her behaved like it didn't need instructions. Thanksgiving was the first real fracture I remember clearly. I brought food from my mother, Elena's stuffed cabbage rolls. I remember gripping the dish too tightly in the car, like pressure could keep me steady. Judith didn't taste it, didn't even pretend. She just looked at it and said, very flat, "That's not really how we do things here." Then, like it was nothing, she added, "She's not one of us." I remember turning toward Grant immediately after that. He didn't meet my eyes. That part mattered more than the sentence. That night, I didn't cry. I just drove. No destination. Just movement. Just trying to get out of the feeling that something had been decided without my input. That's when I started the folder. Not out of strategy, not even anger at first. Just keeping things. Like if I held on to enough details, something would eventually make sense. Emails, small inconsistencies, foundation reports that didn't sit right when I read them twice. Then patterns started showing up. Not obvious ones, the kind you only notice when you've stopped trusting coincidence. Money going places that didn't fully exist. Names that were real on paper, but not in reality. Grant started fading in smaller ways at the same time. Laughing at things I wasn't part of. Pausing before replying to messages from his family, like there was a delay between him and himself. There was a group chat. I wasn't in it. I found it accidentally. One notification that wasn't hidden fast enough. Real Kesslers. That name should have meant something immediately. It did, eventually. There was a photo of me. Someone had written something about me not fitting in anywhere properly. 3 laughing emojis. Grant reacted too. I remember staring at that longer than I expected. Not because it hurt fast, because it didn't. That delay stayed with me more than the message. By the time the gala came, I was already living in 2 versions of the same reality. One where I was preparing something, one where I was pretending I wasn't. Judith gave me a role. Greeting guests, table 47. Always edges, never center. Grant said it was just logistics, but nothing in that family was ever just logistics. 2 weeks before the gala, I accessed the donor database using Paige's credentials. I told myself it was for coordination. That word stayed with me because it sounded harmless enough to believe. The data didn't feel dramatic. It felt quiet. Too quiet. Numbers that didn't connect properly. Vendors that existed just enough to pass as real. I didn't react immediately. That part matters. I didn't feel powerful. I felt behind. On the night of the gala, I thought I had control over myself. I didn't. Judith's speech was softer than I expected. That threw me off more than anything sharp would have. Grant sat at the front table, not looking at me, then looking, then not again. I don't remember the exact moment I decided anything. I sent the files earlier than I meant to. Not carefully, not strategically, just suddenly, like something in me stopped holding it. Then things moved without waiting for me. Judith started her toast. Grant stood up halfway through. He walked like he was going to interrupt her. Then he turned, looked at me like I was something he finally understood too late. And then he hit me. Not like anger, not like intention, more like confusion turning physical. The room reacted faster than either of us. After that, nothing resolved cleanly. Nothing ever does. People just separate into consequences that don't fully finish. Grant became inconsistent. Sometimes sorry, sometimes gone. Sometimes something in between that didn't hold shape long enough to name. Judith didn't fall immediately either. Systems don't collapse in one moment. They slow first, then crack, then hesitate. And me? I didn't feel like I won anything. I just left. My mother didn't ask questions when I got there. She just put food in front of me like she was continuing something that had never really stopped. I ate, and for the first time in a long time, I wasn't trying to translate anyone else in my head. Just eating, just sitting. Not fixed, not forgiven, just out.